hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on Greek and Latin roots. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username, we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 5. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of Greek and Latin roots. All right. So we see that our chapter is Greek and Latin roots. Our subject is English Language Arts. Grade 5. And in the lessons that we're going to be focusing on, oopsie. And the lessons that we are focusing on is to use Greek and Latin roots as clues to meanings of words, as well as to use the meaning of words as clues to the meaning of Greek and Latin roots. All right, and I would just like to apologize for Monday. I just want to apologize for Monday. We experienced, or more like from my side, I experienced technical issues, and that is why I couldn't log into our session for Monday. So yeah, I just want to apologize for us not having the session on Monday. Um, because of technical issues, but it is sorted now and we won't be experience any of those problems in the near future. So thank you guys for your patience, and I really really appreciate even you guys logging in and just yeah, still logging in today. So yes, so I really hope that you will be able to understand and, is the word forgive me or accept my apology. But it's all sorted. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So we're doing Greek and Latin roots, right? Um, and when it comes to Greek and Latin roots, then a root is a part of a word that has a certain meaning, right? It's the same as, for example, um, doing prefixes and suffixes, right? A root word is a word that basically um, it has a specific meaning, and once you either add the prefix or the suffix to that word, then it changes the meaning. Now, in this case, when it comes to Greek and Latin roots, right, then a root is a part of a word, right? So a root is a part of a word and it has a certain meaning, right? So when with a specific meaning like the root, it will, whatever you add to that word, the meaning will kind of be the same, right? So we are going to look at certain examples, right, where we have the specific root, and whatever are the letters or word that is added to that specific root, right, you will then be able to see that the words that that let's say the letters or the word that is added to that root word, most of that words will then basically be the same. So we see that a root is a part of a word and it has a certain meaning. And words that share the same root, they often have similar meanings that are related to the meanings of the root. And that is what I made mention of. If the word has the same meaning, the same root, right? Then what other word or letters that is added to that root, right? Those words will then have the same meaning or similar meanings related to the meanings of the root. So the root will have its own meaning, and then whatever words or letters that is added to that root word, the meanings will then be similar to one another, right? All right, and if we look at an example, right? Our example says the root phon, right? Or phone. So it can either be the root phone or phon, depending, right? It means sound. So the root phone or the root phon, it means sound. You see, so there the word already means sound, right? So now we know that, okay, this root word is sound, right? So now we'll see that every other word that has this word phone in the word, right, will then have the meaning, or it will have a similar meaning to do with sound. And if we look at the first word, it says xylophone, right? So xylophone is a musical instrument with wooden bars that are hit by small hammers. So which means that a xylophone is a musical instrument with wooden bars that are hit by small hammers, right? And what happens when that musical instrument is basically hit by small hammers? It makes a sound. It creates a sound, right? And when you, for example, hit on each one of those different bars, then each one of those different bars makes a different sound, right? So, which means that a xylophone is to do with making a sound because it is a musical instrument. And when you hit that musical instrument, then it makes or it creates a sound. So, there we have that one word, xylophone, right? And we see that the word phone means sound. Then we have another word that is homophones, right? Yes, it is basically spelled phone. So it's spelled like phone. So then we have homophones, right? And homophones are words that sound the same, but they have different meanings, right? And with homophones, we have words like, for example, um, buy, buy, and buy, right? If we look at these three words, right? If you basically say all three of those words, if you pronounce all three of those words, then all three of those words, it sounds the same. So that is homophones. Homophones are words with the same sound, right? It's words that sound the same, but the meanings of all of these words are different. Because this first word buy, it's short for saying goodbye, see you, like, next time. Then this word by, which is by, means it is either near. It's like I'm sitting by the tree. I'm going, I'm sitting by the shop, or I'm going, that is the word buy. Then this word buy, buy, it means to purchase something, right? You give money, you go to the specific shop, you give money, and they give you the product or the item that you are purchasing, that you are buying, right? So, which means that these three words are homophones, and homophones are words that sound the same. So, these three words, they sound the same, but the spelling and the meanings of the words are different. Yes, that is correct. It's the same like two, and two, right? But if we look at the meanings of those words as well as the spellings of those words, then it's different. But those are homophones, because homophones, they sound the same. And it goes back to our root word, which is phone, which means sound. So phone means sound, right? So well done. Yes, the same with there, and they, right? They are also homophones. The same with right and right are homophones, right? So well done. Then we have another word, telephone, right? And telephone is a machine that can carry the sound of someone's voice over a long distance. It's carrying the sound from one device to the other device, right? And they can carry sound for a long distance, right? It's even the same as we are. Okay, I am basically the one that's just talking, but if I were to put on my sound, right? If I were to put on my sound, and then we would be able to communicate with one another through our devices, right? So it will basically carry our sounds for a long distance, right? Because I'm in South Africa, you in Canada, so the distance are it's a very long distance, but yet it has made communication so easy that it just carries sound from one device to the other. The same with cell and cell. Yes, the one is cell can either be short for cell phone, or it can be cell, can be something to do with an atom or something in natural science. And sell, SELL, is like when you are selling something. It's like you are giving the product away and somebody's giving you money for it. That is you selling it. The same with saxophone. Yes, it also works. No, saxophone is correct because saxophone is also a musical instrument. It's a wind instrument. Once you blow through it, right, it creates sound. Once you press the buttons, it creates different sounds also. Bear and bear, choir and choir. Yes, C and C. Well done. So those are phones, right? Or homophones, telephone, xylophone, right? Even cell phone, as long as the word phone is in there, because phone is the root word, right? Which means that the meaning surrounding the word phone, right, will then have a similar meaning to sound. Because whether we say telephone, or we say cell phone, because nowadays we basically say cell phone, because I don't even think corporate companies use telephones anymore, because they are also using cell phones now, or portable phones. So we have either cell phones or telephones. that basically transfers sound from one device to the other device, even when it's short distance or long distance. And then we made mention of homophones, right? Where it has different words with the same sound, but the spelling and the meanings of these words are different. And then we have xylophone or saxophone, right? Which is musical instruments, right? And a xylophone is just a musical instrument with wooden bars that are hit with small hammers. And every time when you hit a different bar, it makes a different sound. And the same with saxophone, right? A saxophone is again an instrument where you blow through it, right? Because it's a wind instrument. And whenever you press the specific buttons, it will then create a different sound. Can you hear me now? Who else can't hear me? All right, let me increase my volume. I apologize. Is this better? Can you guys hear me now? Because my volume is now on its loudest. All right then. Thank you guys. Apologize for that. All right, so these words are all surrounded by the root word, which is phone, right? And all of these meanings they relate to the concept of sound because phone is the root word which means sound. And the words that we just made mention of, which is xylophone or saxophone, or we said cell phone, or we said telephone, or we even said cell phone, right? Those are words with that is all to do with sound, right? There we have the word phone in that specific word, and it is to do with sound. It is all related to the concept of sound, right? And yes, once again, homophones are words that sounds the same, but the spelling and the meaning of the words are different. Like for example, aisle and aisle. Yes, well done. Right? Those are all Greek. Leech, carrot. Those are all words. Humorous. Those are all words with that are homophones, right? Words with the same sound, but they have different meanings. Right? So well done. So just before I continue, right? Once again, a root is a part of the word that has a certain meaning. Like, for example, saxophone, the root is part of that word. Xylophone, the root is part of those words. Homophones, the root is part of that word. Cell phone and telephone. The root is part of that word, right? So all of these words, right, has the concept of sound, but they have the concept of sound differently, right? All right, so well done. And you can then use your knowledge, right, of roots to figure out the meaning of words that you haven't seen before. So, words that you haven't seen before, like for example, the root cyclo, right? If you look at the word cyclo, cyclo means either circle or cyclo means wheel, right? So cyclo, the root cyclo, it either means circle or it means wheel. For example, if we look at the root meter also, right? Here's another word meter. Meter means measure, right? So the root meter means measure. And we're going to get to a few examples of words with cyclo and words with meter. For example, then if you, with cyclo, right? Cyclo means circle or wheel. Meter means to measure. But you can also put those two words together. Like, for example, a cyclometer. And a cyclometer is a device that measures, there's the word measures, how many times a wheel turns. That is a cyclometer. And if we were to look at certain words with the word cyclo in or the words with meter in, then it is, for example, all of the words are going to be surrounding either circular or wheels for cyclo, or meter will be to do with measurements. Like if we look at the word meter, right? If we think of kilometers, kilometers, right? It measures the distance from one place to the other place, right? That is kilometers or kilometers, right? um if we look at another word that has meter in, for example, centimeters. So then we have centimeters, and then centimeters will then be, for example, it is where we are it's also used for measuring, right? And even if you look at a specific ruler maybe, right? And then on a ruler, if we were to even calculate it, there's like maybe 30 centimeters on a ruler, and it measures length, right, of an object, right? So we can then measure length of an object. Then we have millimeters that measures more smaller things, like you can maybe measure your nail or a toenail. Whereas a centimeter we can even use to measure maybe like a desk or a book. A meter is a bit longer, right, which is 100 centimeters, and we can then use maybe a meter stick to measure the room, right? But it is to do with measurements, right? So, which means that once again, we have words like our root words, and our root words are used to figure out the meaning of certain words. Our root words is given, then it has a specific meaning. It has a specific meaning, and then whatever word that surrounds that specific that word, that the root word, the meanings will then be similar. All right, so now we're going to go to aplusstudents.ca, where we'll be doing our tutorial lesson on Greek and Latin roots. And the first lesson that we're going to be focusing on is to use Greek and Latin roots as clues to the meaning of words. All right. So if we look at another word, right? If we look at this word, it says the root astro. Here we have another root word. So the root astro, it means star. So the root astro means star. And if we were to, always before we go to the word the root word astro, right? We said that a root is a part of the word that has a certain meaning, and words that share the same root, they often have similar meanings that are related to the meaning of the roots, right? And we made an example of phone, like xylophone, homophone, telephone, cell phone, saxophone, right? Those are words that are all related to the word of sound, right? Because of the root that means sound. The root phone means sound. So now, if we look at an activity, right? It says the root astro means sound. So the root astro means star, sorry. The root astro means star. So if astro means star, then what does the word astronomy mean? If the word astro means star, then what does the word astronomy mean? Does it mean does astro means the branch of science that studies stars and other objects in space, or is astro the branch of science that studies the physics of light, or is astro the branch of science that studies rocks and minerals? What does astronomy means? Because we said that astro means star. So we said astro means star, right? But now they want to know, what does astronomy mean? Does it mean the branch of science that studies stars and other objects in space? Or does it mean the branch of science that studies physics of light? Or does it mean the branch of science that studies rocks and minerals? Astronomy. All right, so if we were to look at the word astronomy, right, it says that the root word astro, it means star, which means that if the word astro means star, then the word astronomy means the branch of science that studies stars and other objects in space, right? So which means that the underlined meaning in red will then be our answer. It is where they study stars and other objects in space, right? So even if we were to look at other words that is to do with astro, like an astronaut goes to, it goes into space, right? If you look at other words to do with astro, then it will basically be surrounded by, or it will be have a relation to, it will be related to words that means star, right? As well as other objects in space. Exactly. So astronomy is the study of celestial objects, yes, and phenomena that occurs in space. That is correct. Or in this case, the simple meaning that we just made mention of, it is the branch of science that studies stars and other objects in space. So well done. As long as you have stars in there or you have space in there. All right. Let's look at one more example and then we're going to our test. It says a television is a machine that uses signals sent from far away to make pictures and sound people can watch. The root teller, so the root teller means far away. The root teller means far away. If the root teller means far away, then what does the root viz mean? Biz or viz. I don't know if it's viz or viz mean. Once again, it says a television is a machine that uses signals sent from far away to make pictures and sound that people can watch, right? And if the root teller means far away, then what does the root viz mean? Think of the word vision. Think of the word visual. And if you look at those word vision, visuals, what is it to do with? What comes to your mind when you hear the word vision or you hear the word visual? What comes to your mind? And that is correct. Viz means to see something, the same with or to look at something. And that is why I made mention now of words like vision, right? It's something that you can see, sorry. So it's vision that you can see or visual, right? That is visual. That is also to do with something that you can see or something that you look at, right? To see or to look at. Wonderful. That is correct. All right. So do you guys now have an idea of Greek words, like let's say the roots? Do you guys have an idea of Greek roots or Latin roots? It is where we have a certain abbreviated word or shortened word, which is basically the root word that means something. And whatever words that is latched onto those words, right, it will basically be related to what the meaning of those words are, right? So before we go on to the test, does everybody understand what root words are? Do we understand so far what the lesson is about? Or do I need to explain some more before we go on to our test? All right, so let us go on to our test. If we go into our test, right, it says we need to use Greek and Latin roots as clues to the meaning of words. It says a thermometer. A thermometer is a tool that measures heat or it measures temperatures, right? What root meter? The root meter, sorry, means measure. Then what does the root therm means? If thermometer is a tool that measures heat or temperature, right? It measures heat or temperature. But now the root meter, it means to measure. What does the root word therm mean? What does therm mean? Does it mean light? Does it mean heat or does it mean sound? So therm, does therm means light? Does it mean heat? Does it mean sound? All right, and if we were to select the meaning of therm or the root of therm, and then we can say it's to do with heat because we say that it is a measuring tool, it measures heat, right? And it measures heat because measure is already meter, and then it means that therm is heat. So well done. All right. So if the root port means to carry, right? So if the root port means to carry, what does the word portable mean? If the root port is carry, then what does portable mean? Is portable able to be easily carried, or is portable able to be easily seen, or able to be easily heard? What is portable? All right, so if the root port means to carry, then it means that the word portable would then mean, is it easily carried, able to carry, able to easily seen, or able to easily heard? And if we were to select our correct word or correct meaning, we will say it will be able to be easily carried because port means to carry, so it will be able to easily be carried. Psychology is the study of human behavior and the mind. That's psychology. Psychology is the study of human behavior and the mind. The root logi means to study the study of something, right? What does the root psych mean? Psych. Does psych mean light? Does psych mean life? Or does psych mean mind? Go back to what the meaning of psychology is. Psychology is the study of the human behavior and the mind. If logi means the study of something, what does psych mean? Does it mean light, life, or mind? All right. And if we were to select what psych means, then yes, we can say psych means mind, right? Because psychology is the behavior or the study of human behavior and the mind. Just think of somebody that must go to a psychiatric ward, right? Why do they go to a psychiatric ward? Is because they have lost their mind, right? They're losing their mind. It is to do with the mind. So now they need to study your behavior based on your mind, the activities that is happening based on your mind, right? And mind is great. All right, the root vis means to see or to look at. That is vis. What does the word visible mean? Visible. Is it able to be seen, able to be changed, or able to be bent? Visible. So visible. Is it able to be seen, able to be changed, or able to be bent? All right. And if we were to choose our correct what visible means, because remember, vis means to see something or to look at something, which means that visible means able to be seen, right? All right, let's go to another one. It says the root tract means either to pull or to drag. The root tract means to pull or to drag. So now we need to say, what does the word tractor mean? A tractor. Is a tractor a large automobile used to pull and move farm equipment? Or it's a large automobile used to make measurements? Or a large automobile you can drive a long distance or far away? Tract means to pull or to drag. So is it option one, two, or three? This is the last one. All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, then we will say a tractor means it is option one, which is a large automobile used to pull and move farm equipment. And it takes us back to our root, which is tract, and it means to pull or to drag things or something, right? So which means that tractor is option one. So well done. That is correct. All right, so we only did the first lesson, which is use Greek and Latin roots as clues to the meanings of words. In our next lesson, we are going to look at two other lessons. So which means that for a period of two more lessons, we are going to be doing Greek and Latin roots, right? So this is now the end of our lesson. We said that Greek and Latin root words are the words that that has a specific meaning, and all the words that surrounds the roots or has that specific root within their words, the meanings will then be the same. So you can create your meaning around that root word based on what the other words or the similar words are. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on Greek and Latin roots. Thank you very much, grade 5, for interacting. Till next time, you must have a good evening further. Goodbye.